guys, it's Miss Sarah, and today we are going to be reading a story for Mystery Week of camp. So we're going to learn about breaking codes in the tomb of Queen Hatshepsut. So you have this book in your kit, so you can follow along with that and look at the pictures, or you can just listen to me tell you the story. So let's get into it. In 1903, Egyptologists discovered a tomb in the Valley of the Kings containing a female mummy. An Egyptologist is a person who studies ancient Egyptian history. During the early 1900s, explorers from Europe were quite curious about mummies. They would travel from all over the world to Egypt to look for tombs and treasures and mummies to bring back to museums in their home countries. Today, we know this is stealing, and many mummies and other artifacts have been returned to Egypt and now live in the Cairo Egyptian Museum. However, at the time, many tombs were being dug into, raided, and rediscovered. Although this was the first time Europeans were seeing the tombs, it was not the first time the tombs had been broken into. Over the centuries, most tombs in Egypt have been subject to grave robbers. These grave robbers were active and even in ancient times. They were looking to steal the gold and jewels and religious items buried with the dead. Pharaohs would instruct the people building their tombs to create traps, false doors, and hallways to nowhere to confuse the robbers. In 2007, the mummy in this photo was brought to Cairo's Egyptian Museum for testing. It was discovered that this mummy was the body of a pharaoh, but not just any pharaoh. She was one of Egypt's few queen rulers. This was Queen Hatshepsut, the pharaoh that was almost forgotten. Queen Hatshepsut was almost erased from history after her death, and it wasn't until the 1900s that archaeologists discovered her unique story. Queen Hatshepsut reigned for about 22 years and was preceded by her father, Thutmose II. Hatshepsut was not the first woman to rule over Egypt as a regent or a temporary ruler, while the true king becomes old enough to reign. However, not everyone wanted to bow to a female pharaoh. Women were seen as weaker than men, and many people did not want a woman in charge. Today we know women and men are equal. Hatshepsut had many accomplishments as pharaoh, and was regarded at the time as a successful ruler. She was accomplished in planning and executing military conquests, opening trade routes to bring new goods to Egypt, overseeing building projects, and even commissioning art. In fact, Hatshepsut commissioned so many statues during her reign that nearly every major museum with an Egyptian collection contains a statue from her reign. Images of Hatshepsut show her looking like a traditional pharaoh. This means that she wanted to appear as a true ruler, not mistaken for a wife or a queen consort. Hatshepsut made sure images of her were similar to that of a man. They gave her a masculine look, and her statues included a pharaoh's beard. While many pharaohs stylized beards included on their official statues and portraits, in reality, pharaohs were clean-shaven at court. Sometimes they would wear false beards, however. No one is completely sure why they wanted to be seen with these large braided beards, but some think pharaohs believed it connected them to the gods, who were depicted with beards. Because Hatshepsut wanted to be taken seriously, her images showed her with a beard. Although Hatshepsut had a successful reign in Egypt, she was still almost forgotten. But why? After her death, Hatshepsut's son, Thutmose III, was declared the next pharaoh. For some unknown reason, towards the end of his reign, he ordered his mother's image to be destroyed. Hatshepsut's image was nearly demolished from history. Her son had her statues torn down, her face and body chiseled off of walls and hieroglyphics, and her commissioned artworks be buried. Egyptologists are still not sure why this was done to her. Some think her son simply wanted to get rid of her images so the people of Egypt would only admire and worship him. Since the discovery of Hatshepsut's tomb and mummy, a lot has been learned about her. She was the mother, sister, wife, and daughter of pharaohs. Hatshepsut praised her own successes by telling builders to create many statues and temples. She supported the arts and was mostly a peaceful ruler. Although her image was almost completely destroyed from the historical record, we will remember Queen Hatshepsut. So why did Hatshepsut wear a false beard in her images? If you were a pharaoh, what do you think would be your biggest accomplishment? Why did grave robbers break into Egyptian tombs in ancient times? And what type of ruler do you think you would be? So let's dive into our kit and go on an adventure.